Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the start of Black History Month. Black History Month is one of my personal favorite months because it's such a testament to American excellence. You know, centuries ago, we took a little group of tribesmen in cloths, savages, absolute, barely surviving. Brought them to America. We slowly introduced them to the idea of work, currency, labor, civilization. And it took a while. At first, it required a heavy hand. But over centuries, we slowly started bringing them into society and civilization. And now I think they're doing pretty damn well compared to where they started. We found them. They had bones in their nose. They were trying to elongate their necks. They were eating human shit, right? Now look at them. They're wearing pants. They're driving cars. They have phones. They use knives and forks. I think it's it's a big thing because there's a lot of people right now that think America would be better off without our best buddies, the blacks. I took a poll. If American blacks all went back to Africa, would America become richer or poorer? 17,000 votes, 82.2% said richer. I find that a little alarming. You never really know. I mean, when you look at the stats, the average black costs us about $751,000 from the time they're born until they're dead with welfare, prisons, law enforcement, food stamps, all of it. The Hispanic 588, the white 220 positive. Now, I'm not saying to just get rid of the blacks. A lot of them are doing great. I think they've come a really, really long way. A lot of them do complain, and I would be open to crowdfunding some if they ever want to go back to Ghana and give up their American citizenship. I think that's something we can absolutely do. This month is going to be fire, yeah. And we pay and we pay and we pay. Yeah, but I mean, this is the good news, and I know I'm obviously being quite funny right now, but the good news is when we give them money, it's kind of like laundering it. We give them money and then they buy shit with it. So if it wasn't for blacks, a lot of big industries would fail, like Cheetos, prisons, Newports, Grape Drank. I mean, Grape Drank Inc. employs thousands of Americans. And if we just because I know a lot of people like to fantasize about a world without blacks in it, but I will insist that you call them African American, not blacks. They're African American. Bowler Bear, you're African American. And we say that to remind them where they're from and where their real home is. Because, Negro or black, a little too familiar. You know what I mean? Notice that we don't say European American. No, we say American because this is our home. Make sure you always say African American. It just really drives home that this is not their place. Okay. And for those of you just joining, let's watch it again. During Black History Month, I like to really highlight all the accomplishments of the blacks, the African Americans. And no one has done more than Tyrone Shoelaces. Tyrone Shoelaces was a black astronaut, an African American astronaut that accompanied the boys on Apollo 11 just to get that one shot. Remember when the LEM, the moon lander, goes up at 20,000 miles an hour, but it looks like it's on a string? And they tilt that camera up from the moon, even though all the astronauts were in the lander? Someone had to do that shot, and it was old Tyrone Shoelaces. And Tyrone is such an American treasure, and he's still up there. Ladies and gentlemen, he's still up there on that cold moon dreaming. Happy Black History, Tyrone.
Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, what you gonna do when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you. And I'm gonna miss everybody out of roll and roll like I ain't looked at a while. Like playing with dust and they play too deep for peace. But the days I got to be, some of your piece of deceased, but they please. Remember me by my grand, the way you can go. God bless you, working on a plan to heaven. Follow the Lord all 24/7 days. God is who we pray, even though the devil's all up in my face. But he keeping me safe and in my place. Say grace to the gates we race when I take the face of judge. Sit against my soul with buzz. Girls, because there's no mercy for thugs. Ooh, what can I do? It's all about a family and how we grow. Can I get a witness? Let it unfold. We live in our lives, so we turn our soul.
Okay, that's the great Tyrone Shoelaces. So why do I go so hard at the African Americans during Black History Month? And I'll tell you why. It's because I'm not affected by blacks. I barely ever see them. And the irony is, the only blacks in Idaho I'm pretty much friends with because they're all super high IQ pattern guys that move here because they get it. The blacks in Idaho, there's almost none. I'll go months without seeing a single one. But the ones that are here, I actually am tight with because because they're like some of the smartest. They're like really smart, and they have really valuable jobs, and so they can live anywhere, and they can see the patterns of collapse, and so they choose to live in Idaho. And I actually have a lot in common with them. But I don't get affected by the blacks or political correctness or affirmative action or anything like that. I don't work for a corporation. I don't work for the government. I don't have to get emails every day from HR. I'm not applying for anything, competing with a black that's barely literate that they have to fill a quota. But I know a lot of people are. And that's one reason why I hit at Mark Cuban very hard. Mark Cuban, the Jew, says, "Dear white people, we are the ones that need to change. Fellow white people, this is not one man's story. This is almost every black man's story. We need to find our way." I wrote, Mark Cuban is a Jew, doesn't consider himself white. He probably just named himself Cuban because that's the last country his family was kicked out of for scheming and sneaking. Okay, this is what a guy like Cuban is doing right now. Mark Cuban timeline. Step 1, he tells the world that he hires any other race before whites. Step 2, EEOC officer says he's breaking the law. Step 3, white people get mad at him, some pointing to his ethnicity. Step 4, he plays the victim. Incredible stuff. Look at the nose on that fucking psycho. So that's why he retweeted me and Fuentes and a bunch of people, because he was playing the victim because he got caught intentionally not hiring the whites because he gets bonuses from the World Bank when he does that. So those are the people that I'm encouraging right now. Now watch out for white victim consciousness where you say, "Oh, if it wasn't for the blacks, we'd all be so rich. Oh, if it wasn't for the blacks, I'd get a better job. They're holding me back. White man, white genocide." I'm not doing that at all. But I am going to mock a lot of them are absolutely annoying. And it's about time a lot of them head on back to Africa. And I've told them that straight up because I take a great deal of pride and accomplishment as an American during Black History Month. Because you look at the flea-infested, mosquito-ravaged sacks of shit we found on the slave coast. We bring them here in their loincloths. So stupid that they thought there was pancake trees in here. They literally hopped on a boat because they thought there was pancake trees. I can't make that up. We slowly brought them the idea of work and civilization. They couldn't just rape anybody they wanted. We used a firm hand with that whip. Slowly let them in. Slowly let them take part in commerce. Wear pants. Wear a shirt. Be able to train their own horses. Grow their own food. And slowly we get to see people like Bowler Bear. That's your best tweet? Which tweet? They're all great tweets, Bowler Bear. I've been crushing for a long, long time. And so I've been going, it's about time Black History Month gets unleashed, but I also want to give a voice to the victims. Everybody's been robbed by a black, all right? And I did a tweet by an African-American, I'm sorry. You always got to remind them. Because I did a tweet that said, after the 2020 Black Lives Matter riots, I've noticed no one buys the black victim bullshit anymore. That ship has sailed. Burning down cities over George Floyd was so animalistic and unjustified that most people at this point just want them to head on back to Africa. And don't shoot the messenger. I'm just calling it how I see it. Everyone's got Negro fatigue. Even normal liberal type people no longer listen to the blacks bitch about having to follow the basic rules of civilization. But I will say this, they've done a damn good job from where they started from. I don't like to judge people. I like to judge everyone on a curve. Someone my height is not very good at basketball. I'm 6'8", and I'm not great at basketball. So that's a problem, But, it's like, because it's on a curve. If someone was 5'4", I could beat the shit out of them at basketball. But I'm 6'8". When you're looking at an African American, and don't forget to say African, because they're not American. They're African American. Never forget that. You just look at where they started. They started in a mud hut eating their own shit, being attacked by mosquitoes, right? Some really kind, selfless Christian, Muslim, some Jews. They took these savages and they civilized them, one beating at a time. Slowly, they learned how to be civilized, and now they're doing great. Although most people still believe that America would be considerably better off without them. And one reason why this resentment is happening is Jews like Mark Cuban that publicly brag about not hiring white people, and he lies about his own identity. He does not view himself as white. He views himself as a Jew. He doesn't even view himself as American, ladies and gentlemen. And these people will just call themselves anything that gets them into another scheme or scam. 6'8" and can't dunk is like black that can't steal a bike. Embarrassing, says Bowler Bear. I can hit harder than you, Bowler Bear. Way harder. I can bench more than you, way more. And when it comes to physical hitting, I'm good. And my endurance is very good. If we did a 20, Bowler Bear, if we had to cover 30 miles, I'd win. If we had to cover 40 meters, you'd win because your people are used to running away from big cats. Hit the cookie tray harder. Polar Bear, I will fight you. And by the way, I have proposed that we should do a race-based NFL. I'll get to that. All right. I said, I think we should have a non-lethal, fun race war, like boxing gloves and foam bats, just to get an idea of where everyone stands, but without any real damage. And we do it to hard techno music, and then we barbecue after. Because my new best buddy Bryson, he's like, no, America would be a lot poorer without blacks because of the NFL. I'm like, we could have a white NFL. You know, an all-white NFL could still be enjoyable to watch. If everyone is just 0.1% slower, but 5% smarter, I don't think anyone would really notice. I propose the NFL has race-based teams, an all-white team against an all-black team. But the all-black team has to also have all-black coaching staff and a black general manager and a black owner and a black accountant. I bet the white team would win. And just for the record, I don't want zero blacks in America. Every few months, we need one to come out of the mist and teach us a valuable lesson, like Bagger Vance or the guy from the Green Mile. A magical Negro to remind us whites what life is really about. And then he disappears back into the mist when his job is done. All right. At first, I was excited about Black History Month because I thought it means they were history, like leaving. Nope. We have to instead learn about some guy who lied about inventing peanut butter. I was telling that to one of the blacks. African Americans. Time to head on home. He was like, you're a colonizer. I'm like, we brought you toilets. And he goes, we actually invented toilets, and sent me some nonsense. I was like, from like 1800s. I'm like, oh, so you guys were oppressed. You guys were victims, but yet you were tinkering and inventing and getting like credit for things. You can't have it both ways, dummy. And I'm not against people with black skin. I've met some very respectable Muslims from Africa. Quiet, decent, grateful people. It's those American blacks. All right? They were asked once to work 300 years ago, and they're still complaining about it. All this screaming and crunking and grunting. Not sure if it was the media or what, but man, are they annoying. They're like little kids with guns who think working means getting whipped because they once saw it in a movie. Okay. There's always going to be a bottom. I'm not going to get mad at the blacks. Dreaming about them disappearing isn't actually healthy. It's about breaking the resistance upward and creating more wealth. That's what us whites have to do. The blacks aren't holding us back. The free money we give them actually keeps many industries going, and prisons and police departments employ millions of people. It's not about anyone holding us down. We can always make our own opportunities. And if we do a good job, maybe we can one day help out our friends, the blacks, assuming they can stop complaining and screaming. And I said, hey, blacks, we wouldn't keep telling you to go back to Africa if you just acted grateful and didn't constantly complain about the one time you were asked to work once. That's why we say, then head on home to Africa. Because you feel like you were wronged by being brought here, then fucking leave or stop complaining. No one owes you anything. But I do, deep in my heart, every time I see an African American wearing pants or a dress or operating a phone or using currency or driving a car, I feel a deep sense of satisfaction that we civilized them. Because when we found them, they were in loincloths, eating their own chieftains, grunting and masturbating. And it's not that I hate all blacks. It's that I love to bike. All right, here we go. To celebrate Black History Month, comment something you once had stolen by a black comment something you once had that a black stole and made it history. Black history. I'll go first. My blue Dino, May 24th, 1991. All right, you guys ready to hear it? You guys ready for this? Hang on.
Yes, indeed.
Start again. Here we go. My school books in college. The bookstores were afraid to confront black students when they turned in books without their name being associated with the book in their system. So the blacks would steal them for money. Motor controlled my upper lip and nerves in my face. I was jumped by a bunch of blacks. I had a yellow mountain bike. 11th grade, I lent a friend $30. Next day, he didn't show up for school or the day after. He vanished. It's been 25 years now. I'm still waiting for my $30 loan to be repaid. $3,000 cash. Well, not for me, for my wife. She ran a summer camp. It was all the kids' tuition. She had it in her purse at a white school, all zipped up, and left her purse in a teacher's lounge for 1 hour. A camera saw the N go in and out of the room, just no camera in the room. Nomad says my car in high school. Then they used it in a robbery and ditched it. My Bluetooth speaker at work, and then he lied about it. For those of you just joining, it's just thousands of testimonies of when blacks made something history by stealing it. In my senior year of high school, a 300-pound gorilla just jumped me for no reason from behind while I was sitting down. My face and teeth went into my knee, killed my front tooth. Painful surgery. Bill says, black boy in 5th grade stole my innocence by flashing me, and a group of 7th grade boys stole my ice cream sandwich and my security by slapping me. 90% black middle school basketball boys stole my chance to play for the team. Well, that's a little victim-y. You coulda, if they outplayed you, that's not theft. Parents' fridge, washer, and dryer when I was young in DC. Also dad's car. A feeling of trust and safety in my community, says Boss Man. In 1994, the property value of my parents' house, as well as the rest of the neighborhood. Thanks a lot, blacks. Sunglasses multiple times out of my car, says Leaf Magnus. Dusty says, I can't believe nobody said virginity yet. Syndicate says, a 40 Smith & Wesson Sigma out of my car while I was sleeping in 2017. Chuck says, $100 limited edition dye Antword plastic toy character coming out of a concert. The 4 quote-unquote teens did give me a free concussion for it, though. The only $2 I had for school lunch in 7th grade, stolen by blacks. Nicholas said, when I was 14, I worked at Burger King. Whenever we had chicken sandwich specials, we couldn't keep up with the demand, so we always had them ready to go. One time, 3 blacks came in and just started stealing chicken sandwiches. My manager chased them down the street. My ride tickets to the county fair in 1995, says Ketter. All the outside Christmas lights on our house when I was a kid. We were poor, so this was devastating to a child. My Discman in 2004. I was trying to be nice and let them sit next to me in computer class, and then they stole my Discman. All right, I got some more here. Let's do another song. My car 2 years ago. My drugs after I bought them from the blacks. 7th grade language, arts, and history class. My dad's Rolex watch from a drawer in our kitchen, 1994. I also got my bike stolen in middle school. Here in Las Vegas, public schools were required to be bused into the ghetto. It was a nightmare. My past mother's favorite ring that was supposed to be the engagement ring for my girlfriend, stolen by blacks. Car, twice. Tony said, my baptism necklace at the YMCA when I was 11. Oakley sunglasses, 2018. Nico says, my phone. Matthew says, my Glock 19 Gen 5 right out of my car. iPhone 4, 2010. My favorite pair of sneakers, says Mr. Optical. They weren't Nike or Jordans, but I like wearing them. Yin says, my first Gen AirPods and Anchor portable charger. October 15th, 2019. Game Boy Advance back in 4th grade. My Little Red Wagon, 1996. Harold says, my Seiko watch stolen from outside the Wildcat house in Tucson. Threatened and robbed as I was walking in with friends. Summer of 2090, $7 tip money I made that day. We could have been friends, but you saw me as a mark, CJ. I invited you into my home to be bros and watch BET. The second I went to the restroom, my tip money on the counter was gone. Never forget. June 27th, 2009. Jesse said I had my brother of my black-in-law staying over at my house because he was on hard times. I went to work while he stayed at the house, and when I came back from work, he was drunk, had gotten into my liquor cabinet and drank 2 bottles worth of my liquor. Didn't have any remorse whatsoever. Let's see where I'm at. My bike. It was the first ever. It was a blue mountain bike, and I would leave it outside thinking the people around me shared my morals. It was never snatched. February 2000, it was snatched around February 2020. Anniversary coming soon. Never forget. My big wheel. We used to live at the bottom of Hard End Hill. Silver Dino bike with red letters, July 2001. About 20 Matchbox cars. Hand-me-downs, all of them. My N, he borrowed them permanently, my Nintendo 64. Then asked to borrow my bike. I said no and cut him off permanently. Is that racism? 2006, my Sony Walkman disappeared from my backpack in my auto shop. After raising a fuss, it mysteriously reappeared in the bathroom atop an 8-foot dividing wall. They stole my Ninja Turtles bike and left it in a ditch. Cowboy says my phone in middle school. Anthony says, damn, bro, they got my mongoose in 93. 2 times entire van full of tools, compressors, and generators. My brothers and I built the coolest clubhouse you'd ever seen out of scrap building materials. A few years older than me and a much larger is walking up the alley, sees it and destroys it, jumping up and down until it was leveled. I'm not even close to done. We're gonna have everybody heard. Frankie says a Tom Brady rookie card. A somewhat rusty 2000 Jeep was stolen by the Blacks that I had sold to a friend, and that was promptly stolen off the streets of Philadelphia. The Fastest Diet says, my heroes. My discernment for the most of my life, I thought I wouldn't be a good person unless I didn't judge anyone, but maybe I should save that one for the Jewish month. The mom next door says the tires off my car while I was at work. I got nothing to report. I was surrounded by whites and a couple of Mexicans. Wasn't exposed to blacks until later in life, and that was pretty limited, says the CIA dude. iPhone while in Luxembourg. iPhone 6 Plus tried to steal my car but couldn't drive a stick. My leather gloves out of my locker in high school. February 16th, 2011. Thanks a lot, black people. Logan says my orbital bone after being jumped at knife points. The wheels off my 1996 white Honda hatchback back in the day. Thanks, blacks. I learned a valuable lesson that day. The blue Al Nasser Cristiano Ronaldo shirt from the front door once the mailman delivered it. Courtney says a family bucket of KFC and a carton of Newports. Ian says a Shaq branded Reebok cap by a Somalian as a kid. Heartbroken until this day. My heart. My wife is black, says Steve. Grand Teton says my pink Panther banana seat bike back in 1992. My only consolation is laughing at how stupid the Negro must have looked riding it. A pink banana seat bicycle with handle streamers. Colette says, 300 to a Cameroon chap I met 20 years ago. We're dating, as they say in America, but nothing serious. It was to help fix his car. He wouldn't pay it back when I asked him to pay it back when he was supposed to, and I asked why. He said, it's so I could fix my car to come see you. I said, yeah, no. What you can do, fuck off, and I hope you crash that car. Last black boyfriend ever. Unbelievable. These stories bring tears to my eyes. This original post is funny as fuck. Thank you. Johnny says, money from the register and my wallet on 4 different occasions at gunpoint in 97 while I was working. I quit the job because a 5th time was inevitable. Brand new shoes I got for my 8th birthday right out of my locker at the YMCA while I swam. The thieves had free memberships as part of some community outreach program that we paid for. My AirPods, bro, stolen, 2022 from my work desk. $5,000, says Perry. Red Huffy 7-speed, 1993. My $2 when I was 12, says Gunther. My tackle box along the river when I was 11, says Steve. Thanks a lot, blacks. My mountain bike in 1996, at least my lock was left behind. Snapped. We were stationed in Germany, and my little red tricycle was stolen. At only 5 years old, I still remember the face of the boy who took it. Nothing could be done. Also took my Matchbox car ambulances with the diamond-like headlights. I'll never forget. 30 years ago, first big bike after BMX 3 months ago, my JVC turntable. Let's do one more round. I'm not even like a 10th of the way through, guys. So when people say, oh, that's just racist, the amount of trauma that they do to people just by their constant stealing is unbelievable. I love Black History Month because I take a serious sense of pride and accomplishment that we took these savages. Now they're wearing pants, using phones. They know how money works. They can drive a car. But do they use it for good? Or do they use it to steal? Whitney Houston stole my heart when I was a kid, says Edger. $270 to replace my front window in my car stereo when I was in Mississippi. Honky Lip said, I had one kick my sprinklers out of the ground because they went off while he walked to school. Dumb bastard. Tina says, my pager out of my purse in food class, 1994. Then I got suspended for 3 days for having a pager, just never getting it back. 2 big bags of Halloween candy while visiting the neighborhood homes in Logan section of Philadelphia. They had just started moving in. My dad moved us out the next summer. Good dad. Half my wardrobe in high school, while I had them to my home as my friends, quote unquote. Sunglasses, hats, shoes, etc. I was robbed at gunpoint by two blacks for a pack of smokes, two 40-ounce beers, and 5 cents. My Blue Dino bike in 1995, says Americana. The paint off my walls, says Dan. My hamburger in 7th grade, says Terraformer. Mark says 2 cars, 2 lawnmowers, 2 bikes, a stereo, and hundreds of CDs, a TV, a VCR. I lived in Detroit for 20 years. My family was poor. I had a teal and pink girls bike, but those black bastards still stole it. June 5th, 1996, bike stolen out of my garage. Came home on the last day of school and was about to ride it off to my friend's house. Not today. Thanks a lot, blacks. Happy Black History Month. Robbed me of a large amount of cash out of my register when I was a teenager working at a department store. My colorful ink pens at work, says Melissa. My CD player, all my burnt CDs and my tools out of my truck when I was in college. My Chad Muska shoes. South Africans? My weed when I got up and went to the bathroom in the 90s. The aftermarket subwoofer and tweeters I got. $50 a product for my first business that I started with the last dollars I had when I was young. $10,000 from a private game. My first guitar, says Ramzax. Dr. Illumina says I always wanted a Blue Dino. Much better than a Hero, in my opinion. I had Huffies and Murrays, all stolen by the blacks. My Pokemon collection when I was a kid. Took the whole carrying case, too. My purse in 2005, says Lasso the Moon. Bread, says Sonny. 2 black roommates, a married couple older than me. I had sliced bread in the fridge and they were stealing slices from the middle. Like I wouldn't notice. It was slowly turning into a cube. Summer of 2012. My iPhone 6. My DeWalt chop saw, says Michael. My gym bag. My boots, jacket, and wallet in the middle of a Canadian winter at knife point, says Ken. When I was 18, left me standing in the snow in just socks. Gold Italian horn necklace in 8th grade. My Fender guitar, says William. My Walkman tape player, January 1989. Unbelievable. My respect for diversity has been stolen. And my bike. All right. I mean, I want to just keep doing that. I'm not even close to done. Are you guys enjoying this? But let's move on a little bit. Are you guys enjoying it? You want to hear more stories? I mean, guys, this is from one tweet. One tweet. Let's do more. Happy Black History Month, everybody. Money from my paycheck to pay their EBT, free housing, and free healthcare. Paul says, my bike while at university. Happy Black History Month. My Super Nintendo, which I let my friend use for a couple days. He moved out of town the same week. My 2017 Nissan Rogue was stolen. AirPods in the middle of the pandemic. Some actual black in Africa. My mother's jewelry that she had given to my wife and was in our baggage when we moved there. Disappeared as well. Happy Black History Month. Nothing stolen, but had a customer throw her change in my face hard. It was all coins because she didn't like the way I handled her yogurt taste sample when I worked at a yogurt shop. My quarters at the arcade when I was 12. My uncle's life. My laptop, my PlayStation, my speaker, my basketball, my chain, my wallet, my credit card and debit card. Ray-Bans from right out of my car, November 2020. I worked long, hard 12-hour days for them. Had wore them for 7 years. A $100 loan in my sister's first iPod. My brand new Sunday BMX bike in 2018. 3 bikes, 1 scooter, 2 Nintendos. I'm not sure I ever had it, but did they steal my rhythm? My electric bike and 45 quid. My T-top roof panels for my 300ZX. An extension cord and my electricity. All right. I could do this all fucking day long. All right, moving on. So I am not about complaining. I'm not a victim consciousness person. So I'm pitching Mark Cuban and the Sharks. I know Damon's already out. It's my dream called No Nig. It's about bicycle prevention. Here's a first commercial. So you have a black sees a woman with a baby, runs away. Oh no, he says. Responsibility, accountability. No! But is it really a black woman with a baby? Or is it the No Nig bike bubble? Protect your bike today with No Nig. It looks just like a woman with a baby. The black will run away, screaming, and never lay a dirty black finger on your property again.